So this year's younger. The recipe is fairly similar to last year. There's always a few minor tweaks here and there to the to the recipe, but for the most part, this year is just about the same. I think the one big difference is just the fact that each year we become better at selecting hops. When we go up to hop selection, I'm looking for hops that I may say, you know what, I want that lot of hops just for the younger. It maybe has a specific character that I like, so that's probably the real big difference. We're right at 10.25% alcohol this year, which is really where I want it to be. Years past, we've been up at 10.5, 10.75. In the very early years, 10 years ago, we were all the way up at 11%. Honestly, I feel like 10.25 is a little better spot for it to be. I think the hops come through a little bit more. There's a little more hop punch to the beer. The bitterness is a little more crisp. And the alcohol isn't quite as aggressive at 10.25, and I like that.
So this year is our 10th annual return of Pliny the Younger at our little brew pub in downtown Santa Rosa, and we're very, humbled and amazed at how many people show up every year and stand in line in the rain today. It's a horrible, horrible weather day, and people come from all over the world and they stand in line for hours and hours and hours, and they spend the night and they just to come in and drink our beer. So we're very, very proud and honored to be hosting such an event in Santa Rosa and contributing to the economy in our community. I understand that all the hotels in town are sold out, mostly due to younger release, which is pretty exciting. For us, it's like, it's like having a wedding on steroids that lasts for about 2 weeks, and we just keep doing this year after year after year, and we get better at it, and I hope that people see that we put a lot of time and effort into trying to make their experience the best that they can be. And then, of course, Pliny works really hard to make younger better and better every year, too.
Awesome. Younger this year, it's tasting pretty good. It doesn't suck, definitely. I'm still working on my first pint, so I'm trying to kind of let it all sink in. I still want to ask what he did different, because he usually tweaks the hop just a little bit each year. It doesn't seem as oniony this year. It seems actually a lot smoother, would be my first recollection of this year over last year. It seems rather easy drinking for a triple IPA. Perhaps dangerous, but pretty tasty actually.
So it's interesting, when you think about beer and you think about cult status, and here we are at Younger Day 2014, and it's amazing to see the evolution of this beer. Before 2008, 2009, I would come up here and sit with Vinny and Natalie, and the whole hub was just filled with these half pints, and but yet there was no line, and now there's a line all the way around the parking lot, which is crazy, and it's pouring rain out. And it's amazing to see a beer that, I'm not exactly sure of the ABV this year, but it's around 11%. And to see how hops can be used to mask that alcohol and make it where you swear it's a pale ale, because it's so refined, but yet it has this complexity where it's smooth, all the corners are rounded and finessed with like a 800 grit sandpaper, and I'm just impressed when you start to think more and more and more about how we can take a beer, modify it, use better hops, learn things, take out any hint of bitterness, and replace it with all these floral undertones. I mean, it has some tropical notes, it has some citrus notes. It's just so smooth and elegant, and the color is just ridiculous. And when you think about all that together, how that can make a beer that much more palatable to a wider audience, and then to see people lining up outside and willing to have an umbrella for 2, 3, 8 hours, to have just a chance to try this beer where there's a limited amount of it. It's just amazing to me to see this change in our philosophy and what's important and where we're going with beer. And I feel so lucky to be a part of this since before it was even a thing, and now it is what it is, and it's great because to see more people willing to go out of their way to try something that's made once a year, it's a really neat thing. So happy Younger Day.
It's Younger Day. As you might be able to see a small line outside. That's a tiny part of it. It's 2 hours to the corner here. It is, it's 10 hours just down the road at the corner, and it's double the distance around the other edge already. So we've got like a day's worth of line waiting here. But this is really a big part of the experience. Pliny the Younger really kind of got stoked to a fever pitch or a cult status beer in 2010. So here we are 4 years later. It's the biggest line ever. So the hype's not dying. It's still way up there. It was number 2 on the best beers list last year at Rate Beer. Russian River is a number 4 brewery in the world this year. They're consistently in among the top favorite brewers in the world on Rate Beer. So Pliny the Younger Day is what is something that is really important to talk about, and that is that waiting in line and being here and being among totally enthusiastic beer geeks are a big part of this experience. And it's good just walking around the pub, talking to people in their favorite beer gear. Everybody speaks beer geek out there, and it's a great time. And this is a great opportunity to come together as a beer geek community and celebrate awesome beer. And at what better place than Russian River?
I guess we're here to talk a little bit about Younger. This year was a great year, I think. Every year it seems to get better. I've been working maybe about 4 years brewing the batches, and it seems like Vinny sort of dials in the recipe a little bit more each year. It's a little bit more of a flavor he's looking for, more profile, but it's all about the hops. And it seems like he is in tune with most of the growers now, so I believe that his selection makes the beer. He's real particular about it. He's always getting in close with all the farmers, and that's what I think really makes the beer what it is today. We also are kind of really in tune to trying to, I think every year it gets a little bit more classical, and we try to give a little bit extra. I don't know, I kind of feel like I was brewing it for myself and for the employees here and the boss, and now I'm trying to really brew it for everyone else that comes down here and stops in. So